Take any questions you guys have for me today.
All right, our first question this week for Coach Campbell will come from John Schaefer of WOI. Go ahead, John.
Hey, Matt, you talked about talking to this junior and senior class when they were being recruited about hope and change and kind of building around that. How has that message evolved now as you find more and more success each and every year?
Well, I think this group has been through all of it. I think it's been through, hope and vision, to change and building, and then ultimately, the finality to get where you want to go ultimately is reach your full potential. And, I think those are some of the things that we've just had to go through the entirety of that process. And, fortunately for us, these juniors and seniors have seen and felt and lived through all those occurrences, which it's like life. I think going through situations and occurrences and responding to it and building from it, it's the only way you can go through it. And this group has certainly been through it. So I think they know how to handle the highs and lows that come with, the entirety of a football year, not even just a football season.
Our next question will be from Travis Hines of the Ames Tribune. Go ahead, Travis.
Hey, Matt, you had mentioned previously that Charlie was kind of on the mend, maybe even going back to the bowl game. I was wondering if you could just kind of fill us in what the last few months have been like for him to get back to where he is now.
Yeah, Charlie has had a lot of wear and tear on his body, in terms of, the production and what we've asked him to do over the last year and a half. And, I think for him, one of the positives was obviously the ability to get to, into quarantine. And, I think, his body really got a chance to heal a little bit. And, as we came back, actually had a little bit of a sports hernia right when we came back from that break, got that taken care of, and then just kind of mending the entirety of his body from there. So, it's been a little bit of a process, but he's done a great job, really getting himself back to great physical condition.
I guess I don't even know, is a sports hernia something you need to get surgery for, or was it just time?
No, it is. It is something that you just got to get fixed. And, I think Allen's going through that right now a little bit in Green Bay. So, obviously it's not a huge procedure, but a procedure nonetheless, and something that you got to just work through once, let it heal, and then, obviously do a great job rehabbing from it.
Brock had mentioned before that having Charlie back, he's a guy that he relies on when maybe a play doesn't go like he would think it would or hope it would. I mean, how much does he kind of change or allow the offense maybe a little bit more breathing room, specifically Brock?
Well, I think early in a season like this, Travis, especially for us where you have so many new pieces, so many new guys adjusting to new roles, what you hope to have is some of the guys that have been in those roles and understand how to do it under the bright lights. The more consistency of those pieces you have, the better you're going to play early in a season. And I think, to get Charlie back, a guy that's been dependable, a guy that, understands in critical moments where to be, I think for anybody that's huge, and especially for a quarterback. And, quarterback systematically, when all your receivers are brand new and brand new spots. And, I think that was really big for Brock, just to steady the ship. And I think now you're starting to see some of those receivers, some of those other players really start to hone in on their position. But I think to start the season, that's really, really important to have guys, especially a shortened season like we're having, where you didn't have spring ball, you didn't have fall camp, you didn't have all summer to just knock through the details. I think those guys that have consistently played are huge.
Thanks.
Sure.
Our next question will be from Randy Peterson of the Des Moines Register. Go ahead, Randy.
Matt, I've been asking you a lot of questions in the last 2 weeks about the 2016 recruiting class, so please indulge me one more. What was life on the road like for you from December 1st, 2016 till Christmas?
Yeah, no, I mean, it was chaos and chaotic in a lot of ways. And, I think for us, it was, at least for me, it was twofold. Number one, handling, and trying to dissect what exactly our challenges were presently within the program. And then number two, making sure that we were doing everything in our power to lay the right foundation for the future of our program. So I think that was obviously a really stressful, tough, and trying time. But, again, that's where you lean on, really good people. And certainly we've got a great staff that I think all of us, not a lot of sleep, a lot of hours trying to put into how do you get off on the right foot, and a lot of credit to our assistant coaches for sure.
How often would you guess that you saw your wife and kids during that span?
Yeah, I didn't. If you remember, Erica, at that time was back in Toledo, pregnant with
that's really
with
good.
Rocco. So, really, we saw him for about not only myself but really our whole staff. We were home for about 5 or 6 days for Christmas, came back and really got back to work. So, and then it wasn't really until Rocco was born after signing day that I got an opportunity to get back home.
That's right. All right. Thanks, Matt.
Sure.
Our next question comes from Rob Gray of Cyclone Fanatic. Go ahead, Rob. Rob, go ahead. All right, we're going to go to someone else in the meantime. Our next question will be from Matt Bellinson of the Iowa State Daily. Go ahead, Matt.
Yeah, Matt, I know before the season, in talking with me and Zane, in our conversation with you when the 2019 season was over, you mentioned that this wide receiver group you thought was one of the most talented groups that Iowa State has had in a long time. But you said that talent was going to need to translate to on-field success in order for that talent to kind of be worthwhile. I guess through 3 games so far this season, obviously it's a small sample size, I know, but through 3 games this year, what have you seen from the wide receivers, and how have you seen maybe each of them individually progress?
Yeah, I think collectively you would say this is a group that's really growing. Obviously for us, Tariq is the one guy that you've seen, continue to make plays, and obviously we didn't have him versus TCU, had made a huge play against Oklahoma, and then got dinged up later in the game. Xavier Hutchinson continues to grow into his role. I thought really his growth pattern from game 1 to 3 has been exceptional. Joe Skate, the play that he made in TCU was a game changer, and I think really starting to settle into what he can be. Darren Wilson, came off an injury, didn't play in the first game, had a phenomenal fall camp. Got dinged up towards the end of fall camp, and we were able to gain him back. I think he's done a really good job for us. Landon Akers has made plays in each game, playing like a senior, and doing a really good job for us. So, I think Sean Shaw continuing to growing, really phenomenal in this blocking. Has made some big plays and run after the catch. So I think it's a group that's really kind of developing. And again, I think sometimes when you just talk about the receivers, you're still not even hitting on the tight end position, some of those other positions that catch the ball and receive the ball as well. So, I think collectively guys are really starting to settle into their roles as the season continues to grow and develop. And I think that's the unique thing. And I think it's also a real positive thing is there are a lot of guys that can do a lot of things. And each game, it's probably going to be a little bit different just based on matchups or opportunities. So, I think that kind of keeps everybody hungry, wanting to get the ball.
I know without getting into specific game plan strategies, but for this group specifically this year, at least for the first 3 games, in my eyes at least, it doesn't seem like there's really a go-to guy in terms of the receiver room yet, compared to, guys like DeShante or guys like Allen or Hakeem in years past where they're going to be getting a lot of targets. Each game doesn't seem that way so far this year. It seems like it's kind of a committee effort. Is that something that that's kind of the strategy, as much as you can give, I guess? Is that the strategy with this wide receiver group, or are you hoping that maybe 1 or 2 guys here as the season progresses really becomes that big target guy that's going to get close to 7 to 8 targets a game.
Yeah, I think that's more game to game. I think we've got some elite talent that, across the board, to be honest. And so, I think that, if you remember back to some of those teams, there maybe wasn't a whole lot of terms of talent. There was maybe one guy. And the nice thing for us is there's multiples now. And that part of it, I think, is really big. And, you got tailbacks that can catch and run the ball. You got, tight ends that can block and catch the ball. You got multiple receivers that can catch and block. And so I think having multiples is a lot better than having just one. And I think that's probably one area that's certainly positive for us.
Great, thank you.
Our next question will be from Jared Stansberry of Cyclone Fanatic. Go ahead, Jared.
Hey, Coach, something that I've noticed during your first couple games is it seems like there's maybe more guys than in a normal year that have the C patch on their jerseys. I assume that means that they're a captain. How did you guys go about choosing those this year, since it's obviously a little bit different than a normal year? And how many captains do you guys have?
Yeah, so, great thing is I made it easy on our team, and I picked the captains this year, and really for me, it was easy, and it revolves around our 16 seniors, and then we had 4 juniors, in terms of Purdy, Vance, Rose, and, those guys that had the opportunity to step in, and Anthony Johnson's the 4th junior that really stood up into some leadership roles this offseason for us. And, I really felt it would be a mistake to, announce anybody or single anybody out when these 20 guys' leadership was pivotal to us sticking together, holding together, unifying through what would be the most unique circumstances that I think any sporting team has faced. So, I just didn't think it was fair to go any other route other than that. So I think it's been real positive and really appreciate the leadership of that group.
Okay, thank you.
Yep, thank you.
Our next question will be from Ben Visser of the Cedar Rapids Gazette. Go ahead, Ben.
Hey, Coach, I asked you after the game on Saturday about Breece Hall's second half and what you thought led to his 100 yards and a couple touchdowns and stuff in the second half. So looking back on the film, what did you see from him, and how is he and the rushing attack as a whole able to get those yards?
Yeah, I just think the fact of the offensive line I thought was outstanding in the second half of the game. I really felt like the tight end position, was really, really good in terms of blocking assignments and physical mentality. And then obviously, Breece had the opportunity to really, find some creases. And the great thing about Breece is, he's obviously got great vision. So his vision can allow him to take maybe a 4 or 5, 6 yard run and create that into, maybe a 20 or 30 yard run at times. So I think credit there really is all around. And certainly Breece has got unique ability to do really special things with the football when he can find creases.
This is the second game in a row, going back to the TCU game as well. Breece had over 80 yards in the second half in that game. That Kenny Nwangu obviously had that 40-plus yard run in the TCU game in the second half. What's allowing you to get those big second halves? Is it wearing teams down or posing your role? What do you see there?
Yeah, I really think it's, I think it's too early to give an exact on that. I think the last 2 games, you got to give a little bit of credit to the coaching staff making the right adjustments to put the guys in the right situation to be successful. And then I think you got to give a lot of credit to our kids. I think they've done a great job preparing to play 4 quarters. And, I think their mentality and their ability to play 4 quarters has certainly, given our kids an opportunity to find success within the scheme. So, I think that's more of a collective whole, and, we'll see if that can continue as the season progresses.
The next question will be from Michael Swain of Cyclone Alert. Go ahead, Michael.
Hey, Matt, something you had mentioned after the TCU game was that you felt like the offense played with great rhythm. How do you feel like the offense established a rhythm against Oklahoma? And just on a game-to-game basis, how do you go about trying to establish that rhythm early on?
Yeah, I think game to game is so different. And, I think sometimes rhythm, unfortunately or fortunately, has to do with the entirety of the game, not just, one side of the ball. And, I think every game is different. And, we have to play in sync offensively, defensively, and special teams in terms of rhythm to actually win games and be successful. And so, I think the offense is just a third of that rhythm. And, obviously you want to score and you want to move the ball, but I think there's times you got to protect your defense. There's times that you got to play situational football. And then there's times you got to pick it up and pick the tempo up, and you got to, you got to really go down and with the mentality of, really moving the ball with great pace. So I think all those things, are critical to our success. But, when you're executing fundamentally, that's where our best rhythm can come into play. And I think that's what you've seen grow over 3 games is our fundamental growth. And then I think the second thing offensively, especially, is the fact that there are so many new faces with new responsibilities at the start of this season. And, like I said earlier, a lot of people see Brock Purdy and they see Breece Hall, and those are just 2 players. And on offense, it takes 11 guys executing together fundamentally to be able to have success. And so, I think that's what's probably allowed us to just continue to get better as the season goes. And that growth's going to have to continue to happen for us to continue to have success. So the fundamentals, I think, is probably the biggest part of the offensive rhythm. But I think rhythm as a whole has to work in unison with defense and special teams.
Our next question will be from Stephen McDaniel of the Iowa State Daily. Go ahead, Stephen.
How's it going, Coach?
Good.
Just looking ahead real quick to Texas Tech. Obviously, in the Texas Tech and Kansas State game, Alan Bowman went down with a knee injury, and Matt Wells has kind of come out and said that there's no firm decision about who's going to be starting under center for the Red Raiders. I'm just kind of curious, how do you game plan when you don't know who's going to be starting under center?
Yeah, I think it's actually, fairly easy in this game because both young men are equally very talented. I think the young man that came in for Allen in the game was outstanding. Was recruited to Utah State with Coach Wells, came then to Texas Tech. You could tell was really confident in the offense. They have a lot of confidence in him. And, I think that's the one thing when you're playing this Texas Tech team is they do such a great job running the football that they really allow the efficiency of the quarterbacks to show through. And, I think every quarterback that's played for them so far this year has been fantastic. So, I don't know if it really wholesale changes what they are or who they want to be in terms of schematics, but I think the thing that they have to feel really confident, and you can tell they've done a great job as a coaching staff, is the preparation of the quarterback position, because I think no matter who's under center is going to be ready to run their offense and allow them to have success.
All right, thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Our next question will be from John Schaefer of WOI. Go ahead, John.
Matt, last season, Brock only had 2 games with fewer than 30 passes. I know it's somewhat situational, but in your last 2 wins alone, he's thrown less than 25. Is that a balance in large part because of the evolution of Breece Hall? And what would you say this offense is reminiscent of what you had 2 years ago with David Montgomery?
Well, I would just say I think that, offensively finding balance has been big for us, and I think that that's something that when you look at us, when we've been at our best, balance has been the key to success. And, when we have been off kilter one way or another, I really don't know if that's the best football we can play. So, I think, like you said, some of it is certainly situational. Some of it is, game by game driven. But, being balanced is really who we've been when we've been at our best. So finding that balance within a game, finding that balance between the run game and the pass game, I really do think is critical for us becoming the best version of ourselves we can be.
Our next question will be from Chris Williams of Cyclone Fanatic. Chris, you are unmuted. Go ahead.
Yeah, Matt. looking ahead to Texas Tech, I read a stat about them last week, and something about they had like 5 or 6 losses in the Wells era that were by 3 points or less. It reminded me a little bit of you guys early on that first season in Big 12 play. I'm just, what you've seen from Wells' program so far, why is he able to do that? I know they're not getting the job done, but they've been right there more often than not. I'm just curious, when looking at them, what allows them to be so competitive, and do you think that they're a program that's close to potentially getting over that hump?
Yeah. No, I Chris, I think from my end of it, you're talking about a guy and a football coach that I've got the utmost respect for. I think what Matt did at Utah State was nothing short of phenomenal. I think what you can see, and I measure teams by, when you turn the videotape on, are they getting better week in and week out? And I think that's the one thing that is blatantly evident when you watch Texas Tech is they're a really good football team. The core values of running the football, your defense running to the ball, and playing really good on special teams, they've lived that. Now, they've had some young guys that I think are starting to really, gain great confidence, and you see a team that's really coming right now. And I've got a lot of respect for number one, this Texas Tech team, but I got a lot of respect for Matt Wells as well, and you can see them on the brink of excellence. So it'll be a great challenge for us, obviously, this coming Saturday, but all the respect in the world for what Coach Wells has already done, and obviously what he'll continue to do at Texas Tech.
One more on a Big 12 team, and that's Kansas State. They're up there with you guys in the standings. They, in a similar situation, they lost, kind of unexpectedly in week 1 and have been able to bounce back. I don't know how much you've seen of that program. I know you probably haven't scouted them much lately, but the same question for Chris Kleiman, who just got extended there. I don't know, when you think of his program right now, what do you think of as far as their culture and their, their identity?
Yeah, I like you said, I really haven't got a chance to watch them much in terms of individually, what they're doing or have done this fall, other than the fact of when you say Chris Kleiman, you think a winner, and you think about Kansas State football, the tradition that has followed that for over 20 years, you think winner. And so, I think when you got a tradition that was built by Bill Snyder, and then you had another really good football coach in Chris Kleiman, I think you think knowing how to win. And so a lot of credit to both that program and Coach Kleiman, because I think they do a tremendous job.
Our next question will be from Randy Peterson of the Des Moines Register. Go ahead, Randy.
Some teams get so full of themselves after big victories that they don't build on it. Your teams haven't been like that. What's your secret?
Well, I think for us, it literally, whether it's a win or a loss, we know that the reality is you're judged at the end of the season, not from game to game. And, I think sometimes that can be hard for everybody else, but I think in our walls, our kids really understand that. And, we're just trying to get better one day at a time. And, we've never been result driven. I think we've always been process driven. And, we're fortunate to have the right leadership at times to really guide that. And some years have been better than others. But that'll be a real challenge. And I think this group's gotten tested in a negative way, and obviously have gotten tested in positive ways. But it's going to be a collective challenge, especially in a unique year like we're in right now, Randy, where it's not just even the emotional high and low of what goes on in a result of a game, but also everything else around us. So all great challenges, and man, what an opportunity to lead with great leaders, and we're fortunate to have some great leaders in our program.
All right, cool. Thanks, Matt. See you after the pandemic.
Our final question this week for Coach Campbell will come from Jared Stansberry of Cyclone Fanatic. Go ahead, Jared.
Coach, I was just curious, this Texas Tech team, I think their rushing per game is the highest that it's been since 2015. Besides that, what's some of the biggest differences you see in this Texas Tech team compared to the other ones that you've coached against since you've been at Iowa State?
Yeah, and again, I don't know comparing it to other ones or not, other than the fact of what I would say about what I've seen on the videotape this fall is that this is a really tough-minded group. They're physical on the offensive line. They have three really good running backs. You've seen three different guys carry the ball and carry with a great sense of physicality. And then you still see some of those elite skill players, and those are things that show up. And then you flip to the defensive side of the football. Their front seven are big, rugged, physical. They do a really good job running sideline to sideline. Again, it's really skilled players in the secondary, and then special teams. I mean, the amount of positive, huge special teams plays that they've been able to make in 3 games. Some teams don't make those in 3 years. So, this is a team that's really well coached, but they're a physical, tough football team, and a lot of respect for them.
All the questions we have from here. Thanks for your time
Thank
this
you.
week, Coach.